York has always been my home away from home. Intellectually, I found my mentors, got a good degree, got to thrive in sports, and really was able to flourish as a human being.
Since completing his undergraduate degree less than 15 years ago, Rhodes Scholar Irvin Studin has distinguished himself as an author, professor, and a leading expert on foreign policy and national security. With a Bachelor of Business Administration from York's Schulich School of Business and Ph.D. in Law from Osgood, his time at York helped him gain the broad, global perspective he sought to achieve. Dr. Studin is currently president of the Institute for 21st Century Questions, a vision and strategy think tank, and founder, editor-in-chief, and publisher of Global Brief magazine.
I've always been interested in how the world works. In the human sense, I've always been wondering how big decisions are made, how countries move, how societies move. Who are the big decision makers? How do they think? What are their plans? And over time, I've been able to get close to top decision makers in a number of countries, to be able to understand that, to be able to advise, and it keeps me fascinated. There's the need for great diversity, and then there's the need to build a certain consensus about what matters and what our bottom lines are as a country. But York is a great place to foster that debate. I strive for excellence, but I try to remain humble, so I don't think my perspective is extremely special, but it is my perspective, and it's formed certainly in part by my time at York. There's a virtue in team sport, being able to move an organization, being able to understand what drives people, how to motivate them, or what their values and preferences are, and soccer has been extremely formative. It all starts with education, university and before. And York, if I may, is one of the places which I'm quite optimistic that this new class of people will be able to lead Canada along these new vectors in these new areas. The one to watch, it's a great honor. I'm very proud to receive it. It keeps me connected to the university. I'm very proud to be honored by the university. I hope to live up to the expectations suggested by the award. The York instinct, it is an anti-elite, kick-him-in-the-teeth type instinct that I carry with me around the world, and I found that to be a very powerful set of tools for success.
Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the 2014 Bryden Award, One to Watch, Dr. Irvin Studin.
Wow. Who is that guy? I'm afraid that everything I say right now can only perforce be downhill, so my instinct is to remain quiet. I'm very humbled by the greeting. It's good to be home. I have many people to thank. I hope I'm not negligent in omitting anyone. But let me start by saying, as I was telling my wife on the way here, that the One to Watch award is a very dangerous award, as you'll appreciate, to bestow on anybody, and probably even more dangerous to accept. Because every Russian Jewish mom in the world thinks that their son is the one to watch. Which is why I was surprised that it wasn't my own mother who nominated me. She's sitting right there and she's nodding her head. So my mother is also, my wife, Alla, who's also a York alumna, and actually I met her at the very end of my York career. She was just starting out in kinesiology. I used the Rhodes Scholarship as a great lever to seduce my then wife. I commend it to anyone. I said, let's bring our eldest, we have three, let's bring our eldest Noah so that he can see that his father is apparently the one to watch, and that will make him more deferential at bedtime. So, sure enough, the trick worked prematurely. Noah's fast asleep. He said, "Wake me up when it's dessert time." And on the way here, some of you will know that on my Facebook, I tend to post my duologues with Noah, and they have a great following, much more following than my articles and books. And on the way here, we were the first to arrive. Noah saw the pictures of the handsome recipients of the Bryden Awards, and my sincere congratulations, by the way, to my fellow honorees. Noah saw all of you, and he said, "Papa, there's your picture. Where's my picture?" Right? And then one more story about Noah, and then I'll continue with my discourse. This is for the Pinnacle Achievement Award. I wish I were in your shoes, you were in mine. Noah is very bright. He takes after his mom. And yesterday, in the midst of the snow, I was walking him to the school bus. He said, "Papa, did you know that no two snowflakes in the world are alike structurally?" I said, "I've heard." He said, "But yesterday I found two that were exactly the same." So Nigel, if you're looking for students, yours is asleep right there. Before I go into some thank yous, I want to congratulate York's soccer program on having become national champions. Are there any representatives of that magnificent program, which I follow with great enthusiasm? Carmen Isako has done a terrific job. I'm a big admirer. He's brought great discipline and professionalism to the organization. I just want to remind him, and perhaps someone could do the favor for me, that I have 1 year of eligibility left. So I'm looking for a very easy part-time 1-year program so that I can lose weight and score some goals. Thanks to Dagmar and Sheena Noel and the terrific team at the Bryden Awards for a really remarkable job and really great stewardship on the way to our receipt of these awards. You've been terrific, so hand to you. The same to the Alumni Board and the Selection Committee. Thank you for selecting me. I understand it is my distinguished colleague at Global Brief, herself a remarkable York alumna, Jacqueline Folkhammer, who was my nominator. And no doubt my mom seconded that, but Jacqueline, thank you very much. I do want to point out my parents. They are with me all the time. Whenever I travel, my mom is on the phone first thing with my wife saying, "How could you let him leave the country?" Ani bandity, if you understand Russian. So I want to thank my parents. They were remarkable. They left the Soviet Union. I was born on the way in Italy. We landed in Hamilton. As I tell the story, I saw Hamilton and we quickly disembarked to Toronto. But I love Hamilton still. But my father, who has played a great influence in my life, still continues to wonder after I've done, I think, a great many interesting things. He still wonders, "Irvin, so tell me what it is you do for a living." Because he's from the old country. He says, I understand practical things, widgets. Are you a men's tailor or a women's tailor?" So that's my father, and I want to thank them. I want to thank my lovely wife, Ala, who is the mother of the year and my closest companion. We have 3 wonderful children. They allow me to do my thing and still be a wonderful member of the household. Thank you, Alishka. I want to go quickly into life at York and a number of people who were really pivotal. And you'll appreciate the list because many of them are still great protagonists in the life of York, and they're critical to its future success. I want to start with the most remarkable professor I had in all my time at York. I should say, frankly, he saved me academically. His name is Fred Lazar. Fred was a remarkable professor, great iconoclast, very brash, very interesting. He remains a great friend and mentor to this day, great source of advice. If you see Fred, remind him that I mention that again, and I tell him all the time that he's a remarkable professor at the Schulich School of Business. And the Schulich School of Business, which had just become the Schulich School of Business in my second year, continues to be led by one of the most remarkable, I think, leaders in Canadian academic life, Deja Horvath. Now, in my closing remarks, I'll repeat what I often say in my writings, which is that Canada, you may not believe it, is really one of the major countries of this century. By the end of this century, I've written, and I would put my bet on it, although I may not be around, we'll have close to 100 million people. We'll be the second biggest country in the West, bigger than any country in Europe with the exception of Russia. But Russia doesn't take very good census, so they can't really compete. We'll be huge. But if Deja Horvath were running the country, we would have been there already. So I want to pay tribute to Deja. He's a remarkable dean, a remarkable Canadian. If we could give a round of applause to Deja. My only micro grievance in respect of Deja is that I don't know what the man's email is. He has a bigger entourage than the Prime Minister of Canada. Where's Lorna Marsden? Do I need to say anything more about Lorna Marsden? Hats off to Lorna Marsden. Lorna was the president during my time. Her and Deborah Hobson were great mentors, very generous with their time, and they continue to be great sources of friendship, advice, and support. Thank you, Lorna, for all you've done. I want to mention Eric Willis and Norm Crandall, who headed the soccer program at the time for about 25 years. They were partners in crime, and it was a remarkable group of young men from all over the world who came together to form the York soccer team. I had the honor of being on that team for 4 years. We swore in every tongue. Patrick Monahan allowed me to return to York University after a good number of years at the Privy Council, at the Australian Department of the Prime Minister and Cabinet. I wanted to come back and write about what I knew, to learn the Constitution, and be an intruder at Osgoode Hall without being a real lawyer. Patrick gave me the run of the place. He was extremely generous. He's no doubt gone on to head the Department of the Ministry of the Attorney General. He's going to be at our table perhaps later, but can we give a round of applause to Patrick Monahan? And finally, two remarkable other professors, Craig Scott and Per Zumbanson, were remarkable during my time at Osgoode. I want to close by thanking York University once again. I see York very much as a home away from home. I'm always comfortable there. I'm always welcomed very warmly. York is a project en route to great things, very much like Canada. So I would salute the leaders of York today and future leaders and students to continue to build. Right? This museum in which we find ourselves is 100 years old today. Canada is 150 years old. Most states, I've had my graduate students calculate, last about 60 years. So we're building. We're past the point of eclipse of most states, but we have a long way to go. And York is very much part of that project. I see it as part of that project. I'm proud to have been a graduate. Thank you for honoring me.